Any court action requires a fair amount of paperwork, whether it is a high-profile criminal case or an action in small claims court. Much of this paperwork must be in order even before filing a complaint. If you have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you should understand that public record, legal precedent, and case law favors the plaintiff in such cases. And mesothelioma court actions are long, drawn-out, and stressful procedures that may take 2 to 3 years to resolve. You can also count on the defense to do everything it possibly can in order to prevail. There is no question of liability. Since 1977, it has been public record that corporations, as well as the federal government, have known of the hazards of asbestos, yet deliberately suppress the information so as to externalize costs while internalizing profits. This basically means that they made their fortunes on the death and suffering of their workers. With the discovery of the Sumner-Simpson papers 30 years ago, the legal profession has had the asbestos industry dead to rights. Malignant mesothelioma cases have a significantly higher success rate than those involving non-malignant asbestos-related diseases, such as asbestosis. In a year 2002 Rand Institute study, 75% of all mesothelioma cases that went to trial ended in a ruling were resolved in favor of the plaintiff. A fair number are settled out of court, either before the trial begins or prior to the trial's conclusion. Although this is good news for mesothelioma victims, it is important to make sure that prior to starting any legal action, any and all documentation is in order. It starts with a solid diagnosis. Clear medical records will be part of the court record. The defense will make every attempt to show that your illness was not the fault of their client. They will put your medical and insurance records under the proverbial microscope to see if you had any possible conditions or lifestyle issues that might have led to your mesothelioma. Herein lies the reason that mesothelioma victims are successful in recovering damages. While cancers in general can be caused by any number of things, mesothelioma has only one known cause: asbestos exposure. Therefore, the defense will make every attempt to show that your illness isn't really mesothelioma. This is why it is vitally important to get a diagnosis from a qualified, experienced oncologist or cancer specialist. The diagnosis should include not only an X-ray. Cases based on nothing more than discount X-ray screenings are frequently dismissed, but also a CAT scan and a pathologist's report based on a biopsy or tissue sample. Prior to seeing an oncologist, you will want to have a full physical by your primary healthcare provider. If you have symptoms or concerns, he or she will refer you to an oncologist. All of the medical records should establish beyond a doubt that you had no knowledge of your condition prior to the diagnosis, that the diagnosis has been confirmed by medical authorities as being mesothelioma. On to legal matters. Once your diagnosis is in place, it is important to find a qualified legal counsel as soon as possible. The reason is all states have a statute of limitations, a time limit on filing an asbestos lawsuit. This statute can be anywhere from 1 to 3 years of the date of your diagnosis. In addition, mesothelioma is an aggressive disease. Although some victims have managed to live with the disease for as long as 10 years, most succumb within 3 to 5 years. Once you have found a lawyer knowledgeable about mesothelioma and asbestos issues, and in whom you have confidence, he or she will need information with which to file a formal complaint. A copy of the formal complaint will be hand-delivered to each named defendant by a process server, who is an officer of the court. Normally, the defendant's corporate legal department will file a motion with the court to dismiss the case. They may claim that the complaint was not filled out properly, that the statute of limitations had expired, or that the grounds for action are either not clear or else have no validity. An asbestos lawyer is trained to frame the complaint so as to leave as little room for argument as possible. In order to succeed, he or she will need documentation regarding your job title, names and contact information of any co-workers or colleagues, the specific asbestos product with which you came in contact, how many years you were at the job in question, and signed releases that will allow your attorney to access confidential materials such as medical records and insurance claims, as well as employment information. Once the named defendants receive the complaint, they have 30 days in which to respond or risk default judgment. Preparing for trial. The discovery phase is the period during which both sides arm for battle, metaphorically speaking. Evidence is gathered, examined, analyzed, and organized. Subpoenas are issued to witnesses. Experts in medicine, chemistry, and industrial sciences are hired to offer testimony. Sworn statements known as depositions are taken and filed. In the interest of justice, any and all evidence and witnesses are available to both plaintiff and the defendant for examination. In addition, you will most likely be subject to an interrogatory by the opposing counsel. In this procedure, the defense will do everything possible to discredit you. It is likely to be stressful and unpleasant. However, you will not be alone. Your own attorney will make certain that you are prepared ahead of time and will be there with you at the time of the interrogatory. Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information. Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.net, to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.net. Information and help for patients and families.